Hey, thanks so much for hitting play on Leanne on Demand today. It's great to have you here. I really appreciate you tuning in and clicking that button. It really means a lot. Today I'm talking about bloody tourists. And I'm actually in Krabi, Thailand, which is gorgeous, after just some hectic, intense days in Bangkok. What I mean by that is I have so much FOMO in Bangkok. There is so much to do that I don't really sleep that well. I'm always thinking about where I could be, what I'm missing out on, all the shops I could be going to, all the outfits I could be getting made, all the runs I could be doing at Lumpini Park, all the food I can eat. And so while I think I'm like really enjoying it, I look at my Aura Ring and it's like stressed. So the Aura Ring, if those of you don't know, it's a piece of health tech. It's a ring that I wear and it just signals to me basically like in the morning to tell me my sleep levels out of 100, my readiness levels for the day, how ready I am physiologically for the day, and then a few other vitals and things like that. And in Bangkok, I was averaging between 70 to 80 on my sleep score and my readiness score. And since being in Krabi, I mean, I wake up this morning, my sleep was 97. My readiness was 94 out of 100. So it's just so relaxed here. Yeah, it's really having a lovely sort of beach time, relaxing, great weather, ocean swims, pool swims, massages, all of that as well. The topic of today is bloody tourists. And I'm just going to take this back to when I was living in Broome in Western Australia, this really remote town in the northwest of Australia. And there were probably around 15 to 18,000 locals that lived in Broome. This is a place, there's no traffic lights. There's a gorgeous beach. It's like when the outback meets the ocean is how I describe Broome. Just a really awesome town, like I said, 15 to 18,000 locals. Then in the dry season, which is like winter in Australia, would have a ton of tourists come in because it was a really nice summer type of feel in winter. Like our average temperatures were around 25 to 30 degrees. In the wet season, it would just get insanely hot. And so a lot of tourists would leave around that time. Anyway, during the tourist season, it would influx to around 35 to 40,000 visitors. So you can imagine a town is built 15 to 18,000, what that does on infrastructure, traffic and everything else. And so there was always a phrase during tourist time, oh, bloody tourists, because you'd have to get to the grocery store. I would always go at like 7 a.m. just to avoid getting stuck behind them. They don't know where they're going. They don't know where to turn. And when you're working there, like, you know where everything is, you know the shortcuts. And so it can be quite frustrating. And so that's where the phrase, I mean, you would have heard it. I'm sure you've said it as well. That's when I started saying it was like in like 2010. What's funny is that I continue to say it even when I'm the tourist. I'm saying bloody tourists. Example, this morning we booked a trip to Hong Island, which is great because the hotel, the resort we're staying at has a beach where they can actually pick you up from the beach. You don't have to go transfer to a marina or a pier. Just walk up on the sand, a boat picks you up, a long-tail boat, and takes you off. And we're like, yeah, we need to get there early and get out so we can avoid all the other tourists, like all these annoying other people, even though I'm a tourist myself. So the irony of that is that I'm also that tourist contributing to the crowds and the chaos at these islands, but I'm also the person that wants to escape that as well. And it reminds me of, even in traffic as well, we're stuck in traffic and we're thinking, gosh, why are there so many cars on the road? Where is everyone going? And that realization that we are the traffic as well, we're contributing to this. It's just a really interesting observation around how we are a part of the problem. I extend this as well just to even day-to-day life. Sometimes the value of being a solopreneur and having your own hours and flexibility is that you can do things like I just refuse to wash my car on a weekend because that's what everyone else does it. So when I rock up to the car wash at 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, I'm just shocked. Like there's other people here. Like, don't they know it's Monday? Why aren't they at work? And I'm there with them and they're probably thinking the same thing about me. And so this is just a reminder around the self-serving bias. This occurs when we interpret our own actions more favorably than others. So when you're in traffic, you see yourself as justified. I have somewhere important to be, but you view other people as the problem. Similarly, you might perceive yourself as better or a more mindful tourist, a more considered tourist to others, even if your behaviors are identical. I think, honestly, I had to look in the mirror on this. Like, I think it's true. It's very accurate. I have a self-serving bias when it comes to calling out tourists and trying to work around them and the crowds and everything else. And so there's a couple of reflections on this one. The first is selective empathy. I like to see myself, like, we all like to view ourselves as really empathetic people that we care about others, but definitely in these situations, I've identified something that I'm probably weak at, seeing myself as either better or different from other people, even while engaging in the same behaviors. Like, I feel like I deserve a quiet, iconic tropical island to visit. And I don't want other tourists there. So there's a really interesting question there around, like, why do I perceive my presence or actions as more valid than someone else? But also flipping that and thinking, well, they see me and they probably think the exact same thing about my presence too. Or if you're listening to this and thinking, Leanne, I never think this when I'm traveling. I don't think of this when I'm in traffic. Feel free to call me out. You know where to find me on all the social media platforms, or my email is hello@leannehughes.com. The second part of this is we're all part of the problem, and I guess we can all be part of the solution. It's interesting how we critique behaviors that we are actively contributing to. Let me take this even a step further with another reflection. I always joke with some peers around LinkedIn and how it can be just a cesspool sometimes of just clutter, unoriginal ideas, sameness, vanillaness. And then, after saying that, I really have to pause myself and think, am I doing this? Am I contributing to this? Um, and that brand of LinkedIn, yeah, I think I've got to reflect a bit more about that. Like, how am I contributing to that platform and the brand that it has? And what can I do differently? And I think the second part, we're all part of the problem, is really related to a human nature thing of a tendency to externalize blame instead of reflecting inwards, like pointing the finger at other people, as opposed to thinking about how are we contributing to this as well. So a couple of questions that I might leave you with. First one is, are there any behaviors that you criticize in others that you might unconsciously exhibit yourself? When you feel frustrated with other people, how often do you pause to consider your role in the situation? And genuinely curious, why do you think we instinctively see ourselves as exceptions rather than part of the larger problem? It's kind of deep thinking on a really relaxing holiday, but I just had to pull myself up from what I was saying this morning. Bloody tourists. Thanks so much. I'll speak to you tomorrow.